Game night for the Buffalo Sabres. They are hosting the Detroit Red Wings pregame at 6 for a 7 p.m. puck drop. Noah Ostlund is considered day-to-day, but has a possibility to play tonight, according to head coach Lindy Ruff. And then in net, all signs are pointing to Alex Lyon getting the start this evening. And the Sabres injury report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. Just one other game tonight in the NHL. The Rangers hosting Chicago. It'll also get underway at 7. And the Bills made another signing today. They're bringing back safety DeMar Hamlin on a one-year deal. We do have more on that up at our website, WGR550.com. More baseball this afternoon. Yankees at the Giants just after 4:30, and the Blue Jays will get their season started as they host the Athletics. That'll be just after 7. And then in the minors, the Bisons, they are underway against Scranton. Bisons do trail that game currently 6-0 in the 7th. The rest of that game can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. And later on tonight, Rochester will get their season started versus Jacksonville just after 7 o'clock. And in college hoops, 4 more games tonight. St. John's and Duke at 7:10, then Michigan, Alabama at 7:30. Following those games, it's going to be Michigan State, UConn, and Iowa State, Tennessee. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
My dad's not here right now. He's still at work. So I'm going to blast him.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I'm going to see if there's a clean version so that my parents and the people at my school will not get mad at me. We've got the spritzer filled with water just in case if stuff gets too fire. I'm going to set up the speaker and I'm going to listen to
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I think this is the best
Mike Schopp
feature that I've heard in a long time. I think his flow is really good in it, and I like his aggressiveness on it, and
the Bulldog.
Put not enough effort in it. I think overall his flow was good, but I don't like that mumble rapping. That was my review of
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Didn't need the spritzer. Wasn't fire enough. No spritzer for you. No spritzer.
Happy Friday, happy opening day for the Bisons.
Sun's out.
I have a friend who went. My car said it was 33 degrees.
You got that. The sun's out.
You get a free ticket because it wasn't 50. Great idea.
I found myself thinking this afternoon, standing in my backyard in the shade and then in the sun. Like, okay, because I'm waiting. I'm outside with my dog, and I realize I'm in the shade. Like, well, it's kind of cold out. I'm thinking about the Bisons. Well, let me get in the sun.
Fine.
It's a little better.
That's what I was.
The sun feels good.
Leading up to.
It was probably
fine.
It was definitely at most in the 40s for the very first opening day there in '88 that I went to.
Okay.
But
you were at that.
Yeah, and it was overcast. There was no precipitation, but it was not sunny. Like it was a kind of a gray, kind of like spotty bits of sun, mix of sun and clouds. Maybe they would have said. I don't know.
You should coin that.
But not like today. Today is like blue sky everywhere. You're going to feel the sun if you're on the right side of the field.
I think it was probably fine for the people who went.
Yeah.
Put a coat on.
Right.
No shorts.
And the sun probably would feel good.
Yes.
Probably wouldn't be super pumped sitting on the shady side. Yeah.
I should have remembered that. I'm sure you've told me.
Yeah.
You were at the first ever game there.
I've got a great picture of my my friend and
Tom Prince.
It's Tom Prince at a solo home run. But there's a picture of me sneaking a cigarette. There's like a lady in a babushka behind. Like it's a very. It looks like it could be from. If I'm not in it, the picture looks like maybe it could be from 1950. But then there's me and my friends. But anyway, maybe I'll get around to tweeting that.
Taken by Harry Skull?
In memory of, no, taken by my friend Bud Redding. Took that picture, I believe.
Was he a professional?
No.
No, he just had a...
No, just happened to
have
a
camera? In 1988, he had a camera?
Had a camera.
They let you take a camera into the game?
I don't believe it was attached to a phone. In fact,
That's something that you would have done.
Yeah.
In the 80s. You would have taken cameras.
The ballpark was a big deal.
To games. Anywhere.
Right. But particularly, you want to have some record of a historical event. Here's this new ballpark opening downtown. We're hoping it's the first step towards actually getting a Major League Baseball team. I know that sounds insane now, all these years later, maybe, but back then it was a living, breathing thing. So, I want to document this, said my friend Bud.
Well, I mean, just in general, that people would have done that in the
Oh, yeah, sure.
80s and earlier, taking cameras, and that wouldn't have been something that would have been confiscated.
I think not.
Now,
right.
I mean, you can't take peanut butter on planes.
Yeah, right.
So I think maybe in the 80s it was a different time. You could have taken a camera while your friend was able to.
Yes, I don't think he. I'm assuming he didn't sneak that in. I'm assuming he just walked in with maybe his girlfriend at the time had a purse the size of a small duffel bag, and that also probably didn't matter.
You can't take a purse into the Sabres games.
Right. You can't take anything really anywhere anymore.
You can't take anything anywhere.
Just your
But
phone.
we still go.
Your phone in a form of payment.
But
That's all. That's all.
your phone is your form of payment.
Right. Right.
You don't even need anything else. You just sort of show your phone, and there's the money. There's the ticket.
Yep.
We still go. Interesting.
Yep.
My opening day story is Rochester, 1994. I would have been 22. I'll keep this short. I've told the story probably too many times, but I'll never forget it. I got into the position of being the PA announcer there like a week before, days before the season. Somebody, I think the guy died actually, and they needed somebody, and I got it. So there it was, 94, Rochester, Ottawa, and so Orioles Expos. And the opening day is the best day for the PA announcer of the year because you're introducing all the players. You have, you have time.
Get a lot
it's
of
your show.
A lot of air there. Yeah.
So it was a beautiful, warm, unseasonably warm day in Rochester, and I was like, this is probably going to be the best day of my life. Announcing players and in the sun and packed stadium for the opener, everything. Great day, great moment, memory. Next day, 40 degrees colder, and the roof literally blew off. The wind took a sheet metal panel off the Silver Stadium roof and sent it hurtling, flying through the air toward the field.
Oh, boy. Toward
the third base dugout. People are sitting there. They have no idea that Plymouth Rock is about to land on their heads.
This large metal object is flying toward them, right?
And it could have been like a tragedy.
Yeah.
But the way it, and even if it sort of lands sideways, it's got to be super sharp on the edges.
Sure.
It just landed safely somehow. Maybe it made it to the field. Hopefully it did. I forget. But there was a moment where we all sort of in the press box saw this giant piece of metal fly off the roof and head for the field.
Oh, boy.
And no one died. So that was good. But day two was not, no introductions, no sunshine, right. Flying metal.
Right. Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah.
Onward to the 1994 Red Wing season. Okay.
Well, we hope anyone who's down there, you're having a good day. Staying warm.
Tonight, Sabres and Red Wings. Would you take overtime?
I feel like I have to say yes. I can still get 2 points. I don't really. I might even
want overtime.
I might even want Detroit.
Now you got it.
I might even want Detroit. Yeah, because tonight for them is, I saw a win. They're far from in great shape, but a win is they're 47% to get in. An overtime loss drops it down to 30-something, and a regulation loss, this is for Detroit, drops them to 27% or something to get in. And so I think a win for I think I want them in the pool. I think they are the weakest of all of the teams that are vying for these spots. So, I mean, I know that's a little counterintuitive, right? They're that bad. Why would I take overtime? Well, because I want them in. I'd like them in instead of Ottawa or even Columbus or, however that's going to shake out.
Boston.
Yeah, Boston, sure.
You wouldn't take an overtime loss right now.
No.
Me neither.
No,
I would take overtime. Yeah. That's why.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, yeah.
Not to be cocky about it, but what I'd like for the idea is for the Sabres to be better at overtime.
That would be ideal, yeah.
I don't think they've really figured out overtime. Or their guys like Thompson sometimes in these overtimes has gotten beat. He's gotten trapped or made a mistake. And
yeah, he got all tangled up in Anaheim. And, yeah.
Not to do the thing where I'm picking on their best guy. Some of these guys aren't even going to see the ice in overtime. But, yeah, I think overtime is good.
They have, and this is not new, and they're not the only team that does this, but did they not have Krebs out there to take the draw?
Yeah.
And lost the draw, and he didn't go right off because they lost the draw. I would think if they had won the draw, he goes off for someone else. But I don't know. They lose the draw, he stays on, and they never get the puck. So like they're very focused on that. Like, let's get the puck, which, makes sense. I mean, in a game like Wednesday's, they never touched it after they lost that draw. So getting to have it first can be extremely beneficial. You might just have one possession and end the game like Boston did. But I'm not sure I love Peyton Krebs to start overtime.
Sal said on his show that Paul said that Krebs had a better night in the circle than Carrick.
Okay.
So maybe that's why that was. I mean, get a save.
I would assume that there's a reason for it, yeah. Like maybe just based on the game and the face-off matchups within the game. I know he did, Krebs, while out there in regulation with Tuck and Thompson, win an offensive zone draw that they got a good scoring chance out of in the second period. I just remember where the draw was. So maybe that was that same matchup, and Lindy wanted to do it again and hope that he would duplicate it, and he didn't. But, yeah, get a save. That'd be good.
They should have been able to get one.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't get the puck after that, but, it's why, is it even worth talking about anymore? It's why 15 years ago, the analytics world kind of came up with face-offs really don't matter, and then anytime somebody who thinks that that's just nonsense sees a play where somebody scores off a draw, then they're like right after you with why this is why they do, and like everything matters sometimes. Everything, like the seventh guy on the line on a kickoff coverage team, well, that really matters because one time he got beat.
Right.
So you'd expect to be able to get a stop and keep the game going, but they didn't.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know. I don't want to speak for the analytics community on this, but I don't think anyone would deny that there are certainly moments in the game where winning the faceoff matters more than it does at other times. But overall, what the faceoffs don't matter thing was born out of is that being great at winning draws does not mean you're going to be a good team. There's a lot of other things that have to go right. You can win draws and lose possession almost immediately.
Because how often are you scoring off of it? It's that too. It's that goalies save 92% of shots.
It's like a few times a year you get a scoring play right off of a draw.
Yeah, to win the faceoff is better than losing it.
Right.
But if you don't score off of it, then how much was it really worth? That's all.
Kind of in the same vein, defensively, you're up 3-2 with a minute and a half to go, and there's a draw on your end. You want to win that draw and get a shot at the open net, whatever you got. That's a good time to win a draw. But you can also blow that, win the draw, not get it out, and you're in your own end. And how much value was there in actually winning the draw?
Yeah, like I started by saying, it's not even interesting anymore, but it probably would be to some people. The Olympic gold medal game, Canada won both of the face-offs in overtime. That was 3-on-3 for the gold medal and lost the game. The Sabres, it can be said, are last, though, in the statistic in the league. They're 32nd.
Norris was supposed to help that, and, of course, Carrick is supposed to help that.
Let's just pray that it doesn't make keys to the game one of these days. Face-offs. Come on.
It has been a long season, and then now you're going to have to be ready for playoff keys to the game.
Oh God!
I think we could end up there.
I'm bracing myself for that.
I think it's realistic that we could end up there.
Tampa gets 1 point. Did you see any of it?
I saw quite a bit of it. Yeah. I think Seattle really did a great job to get that game to overtime, and I feel like they stole the extra point from Tampa. Tampa was absolutely ragdolling them in the third period. That game was 3-1 at one point, midway through maybe, and then Tampa tied it up, and shots in the third period were at one point 12-2 or something, and it really looked like that. It was just everything was in the Seattle zone. It was Grubauer. He played great, and then they got a chance in overtime, and Montour made a real nice little heady play there. I don't think Vasilevsky thought he was going to shoot it, and he shot it, and they won. So
where was this game on TV?
This game was – where did I have this game? It might have been a TNT game again. No, I don't think that's right.
NHL Network?
ESPN Plus?
ESPN
I have
Plus.
so – I honestly, I'm not there were – it had to be ESPN Plus.
Okay.
I think is where it was. They had a ton of games last night, and I remember scrolling through their guide looking for that game, and it took me a while, but I got there. I'm mistaken about TNT. It was anyway. So I had the Tampa broadcast of the game. They spent. You don't need to know.
It's like I'm always hesitant. I always want to dive into this, but I'm always hesitant to do so because I don't really know what it sounds like, to different people, whether that's based on income or based on age. I'm losing my mind over not being able to find games and know where to look. And I mean, it's opening day, and I'm not beating myself up over not knowing to go to Peacock for baseball. I didn't know that I was going to need to do that.
Because that's new this year. Yeah.
Even last night, I wanted to see the Dodgers, and Peacock. NBC is doing this. Fubo, which we have, doesn't have NBC, so you need Peacock to watch, Premier League, I guess baseball now. And I heard that the Nationals-Cubs game, like Nationals fans couldn't find the game anywhere on the regular stream, if that's even the right term for something, and then the other streams, like they couldn't get it. You couldn't get to the Nationals.
That makes sense because I did read in the run-up to baseball starting, I won't talk about it was opening night and then opening day, and anyway, whatever. The baseball season ramping up, there was some media reporter I follow said like there's a handful of teams, and maybe these two teams or at least one of them were among them, where like all of these sort of regional sports networks went belly up last season. And the tweet was basically, and there probably was an entire story attached to it, for these teams, they don't yet have their broadcast plans solidified. These things often come down to the wire. And I'm like, I'll say, these teams are playing tomorrow, and the teams can't tell their fans exactly where they're going to find the games yet, which is, I mean, that's the definition of going down to the wire. So maybe that was one of those that they either didn't get it sorted out, or people just had really no idea where to go get it because word didn't get out in time because the decision was made so late.
It was not there, whether it was through Fios or any other service that you could have had. There was no access to the game. Verizon was telling people on Twitter that you need this extra channel that's available, but like reset your system and something, like you were supposed to know to do that.
Yeah. And
then the fans came back with, well, this is just going to cost me more then to get this channel 579 or something. Like, I don't know. I think it's righteous to be completely baffled by all of this put together, but I also think it's kind of boring. It's probably boring to listen to, or even lame. Just like, figure it out. Figure out some way to find your sporting events.
Yeah.
But what do we got tonight? MSG? Easy one?
Yeah, I think just regular old Sabres tonight. Yeah, I believe that's the case.
One of the great things about being at the game on Wednesday was the boards don't change.
Yeah, that's a plus. Yeah.
You're not constantly distracted. Do you get distracted by this? Did you ever? Is this just a me thing? Like, I hate it so much that it's always – and the biggest reason why I hate it is not that it really takes my eyes off the hockey game, because it mostly doesn't do that. I've always been bothered. This is even like wearing dark versus white. Places should look like the places that they are.
Right.
And if you're changing the uniforms and slapping ads on the glass and putting up Zach Brown Band, promotions for your own arena, and all I have is the center ice logos that identify who it is. What am I looking at?
Right.
They want you, and I'm not even kidding, I'll say it again. When do we get to fake fans? When do we get to, there are only 10,000 people here, let's slap some fake people in there so it looks like we have a sellout. They would move, sports teams have moved people down. The Bisons have a game on TV. They'll move people to those seats behind the plate. So why don't we just put fake people behind the plate? Someday we will. I'll probably be old enough to live to the day where they put fake fans on
Where
screen.
this does annoy me mostly is watching highlights back, because I don't always know right away where you used to know where the game was, in part based on what the ads on. If you don't see the center ice logo, you kind of know, oh, this game's in Boston. I see a giant Dunkin' Donuts ad in the inside the blue line, or whatever for the local stuff, right? For Canadian banks for a Montreal RBC or something. And now, that's depending on what feed you're watching. Like if Boston's playing in Montreal, I'm getting Dunkin' Donuts on the wall because it's the Boston feed if I'm watching, and that I don't like that at all. Mostly where it bothers me, the changing, it's not so much when the digital ad changes over during the standard wide shot of the play, and that is jarring, or it can be, but I think I've gotten used to it. Where it bothers me is when they switch from that regular wide camera shot where you've got the digital ads for the broadcast, and they quickly go down to like an ice level shot to a guy in the corner with the puck, and it's the stuff that's in the rink.
Yep.
And then they quickly go back to the wide shot, and it's back to the digital stuff, and that just is an assault on my senses. That bothers me.
But you can only complain about so many things in the world.
Sure.
It's just
Yeah.
once in a while.
I've mostly gotten over it.
Yeah, right. Once in a while. All right. So you would take overtime, so would I. Anybody else playing tonight that we need to know about?
No, there's only 2 games in the league.
Blackhawks, Rangers?
Yeah.
What about the draft, though?
Well, that's not our problem.
You sure?
Yes.
You promise?
Yes.
Okay. NBA is big on that today. We have this rules proposal in the NFL from the Steelers that I couldn't even recite to you, and I refuse to look it up. Okay. Sorry. On a Friday, especially, that like you're only getting certain number, or maybe it's like adding. I'm not even sure it's adding or subtracting. X number of phone calls and video Zoom calls you can make with UFAs right. in the legal tampering. Mm-hmm. Like the Steelers have some idea that they want to change the rules on that. And I thought, like, okay, well, I'm just not going to learn this. And then I saw the 3-pronged NBA anti-tanking proposal document.
Oh, boy.
Today, and I just...
3-pronged.
I 3-pronged. I just feel like I cannot figure out anything anymore.
Uh-huh.
It's bad.
Where are the games? The ads on the boards are confusing, and these rules changes have us spinning.
I am 80 now.
Welcome. Welcome to the day.
I am 80 now. I have no idea what any of that means.
Yeah.
How about just not have a lottery? Or fix your site. Fix your rules so that the worst teams don't get the top draft picks. That's what your problem is. Hockey, basketball. That's in all sports. That's what your problem is. You have it built to benefit the worst teams. Don't have a draft. You shouldn't anyway. The problem is, though, that drafts are fun and huge content creators. So we want drafts, but really, why have them? Why not have it be like any other business where people get to go where they were wanted and paid the most? And, would the Buffalo Sabres be completely priced out of having a good team? I don't know. Not necessarily. Guys want to play. Sorry to make it so complicated so early on a Friday. The sun is out. Bulldog said it. Sam Panayotovich coming up. He's not going to want to talk about any of this. He's going to want to talk tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Baseball futures.
Well,
the White Sox getting blasted in
14-1
opener,
or whatever that was. Yeah, right.
And who knows what else.
I was asked a question yesterday. I don't know if you want to take a try at this. I know we got Sam coming up, but I was asked like how focused I am, like what it'll feel like when the Sabres actually clinch a spot. And I didn't really know how to respond. Like I feel I'm not on edge. Maybe people still are out there. I don't know. I've not been on edge about this team making the playoffs since New Year's. I just felt like they were good. And their place in the standings is so good right now that I'm not focused at all on what the magic number is and what it's going to. I just feel like it's kind of anticlimactic at this point. It would be beyond stunning if they missed at this point. Every model has them at 100%.
I'm not worried about it.
Right. So that takes to me the heat off of, like, if I'm in a race for first, I'm in a race for second or third maybe, right? I'm in a race for the best spot I can get. But I don't feel like I'm in a race trying to fend off the Senators. I don't want them in, but I'm not worried about them passing me or taking my spot.
Nope.
It's like, I don't know. I just wonder if fans are focused on, like, the moment they clinch, the game they clinch. And I don't know. I'm not really at all. It'll be great. I mean, I'm not saying I'll be, like, not have any reaction, but it's not that important moment to me.
I think what I've thought doing this, asking such questions, is I don't think people really want to talk about it like it's a given. People don't want to assume until they've officially done it. We'll talk about it some more. Sam Panayotovich next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldogs, Sabres, and Red Wings pregame at 6 here on WGR.
living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right, now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go! All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You gotta steal the crown, got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. To all choose your timeline with the
Down to 5. Smith shaking, bacon. Smith puts it up. No, the foul. It's good. With .7 left, Trey Kaufman-Wren has given Purdue the lead.
Purdue into the Final 8, where they'll face Arizona tomorrow night. Welcome back. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Big names lined up for tonight's tournament slate. And I'm sure a man who is ready for all of it is Sam Panayotovich, decorated sports betting analyst, Illinois man, Sammy P. with us on the West Her hotline. Sam, how's life? How is this tournament treating you?
So far, so good. I have an exacta, or I guess it'd be a superfecta. Now I'm going to jinx it, but I have my Final Four all making it at 30-1. So I'm almost there with Illinois, and then Duke, Arizona, and Michigan. Shocker, the 1 seeds. But if that's the actual Final Four, 1-1-1-3, I'll hit 30-1. So I'm sweating that big.
I missed the part where you said, and you have the Bills to win the AFC East as a part of that. I missed that. You were breaking up when you were saying that.
I know. By the way, before I forget, I was at Naked City in Vegas last Saturday, and they wanted to give the boys some love. They love Schopp and the Bulldog out there.
Yes,
That is
Chris.
nice to hear.
I told you this because I saw pictures from you. I was out there. The first year I went to Las Vegas to broadcast the night of the opener, the Thursday night, and to do fantasy drafts. We were set up at Naked City. And my friend Louie saved us because I could not figure out how to get us on the
There was an equipment problem, and literally, like, the Open was playing when I think Mike said, I'm here. I got it.
It was really close.
It was really tight. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm flying solo here.
I picked Illinois in my bracket because of you. I know there was that 1 week where you talked about Illinois versus Michigan, and we lost on that. But I figured you were still pretty high on them. So I have Illinois, Iowa State, not for big money.
Oh, in the final, Iowa State. I thought you meant you had Illinois, Iowa in that bottom left. I was like, holy cow, that would have paid a nice penny. Okay, so Iowa State goes tonight. I can tell you, I just talked to my buddy in Vegas, John Murray, who runs the Westgate, one of the big books out there, and he said the 2 bets they need to lose tonight, outright, are St. John's and Iowa State. Big public sides today. I mean, everybody's betting St. John's, which makes sense. I mean, they've won 6 in a row. They've covered all those games too. And now you're getting a big number. I'm using air quotes because you can't see me. I'm on the radio. Wow, that's a lot of points. But if you followed college basketball the last 5 years or so, when you get to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, this is where the gap really widens. Like Arizona last night. I had a bunch of texts from my buddies. Wow, that's a lot of points to give Arkansas. And then Arizona scored 110 points, and won by almost 20. So I warn people, when you see a big number, psychologically, for some reason, everybody loves favorites in every sport. But then in college basketball, Sweet 16, Elite 8, the public sort of flips and takes points, especially 6, 7, 8, 9 points. And I warn people, these teams that are laying 7, 8, 9 points are damn good. And I think you're going to find that out with Duke and also another one tonight. I mean, it's not a public side like Iowa State and St. John's, but there will be a lot of people that will look to take 9.5, 10 with Alabama. And if they don't make their threes, guys, they're getting blown out by Michigan.
That is interesting. And isn't it your overall point there about how, for some reason, this sport or this tournament is where the public turns to the underdogs? Is that maybe just the way it's marketed that we think about, and that's more, it's for a reason, but we think about upsets when we think about this tournament, even, classics in the finals, whether that's Villanova, Georgetown, or something more recent. I wonder if that's really it, that when we think of the tournament and, when you say public, you're talking about, casuals often. Maybe we just sort of go right to the dogs.
Well, I mean, this is a longer form conversation. I'll try and keep it as short and sweet as I can. The dogs are not as big as they used to be in terms of the number. I remember going back a decade, a 13 seed would be getting 22 points. And now the trendy 13 seed is getting 13. And everybody likes them. Like Troy, for example, this year. I mean, everybody bet Troy, and Troy got dog walked. Hawaii was another one. Oh, watch out for Hawaii. I mean, Hawaii went down 11-1, and the game was never close. I think we only had 4 double-digit seeds win in the first round. And then for the first time ever in NCAA tournament history, there was a stretch where the betting favorite won the game 22 straight times. I think it was from Thursday night through Friday, the first Friday, where the favorites won every game, all 16. I mean, imagine being a dog player, especially a dog money line player, and the favorites win 22 straight in a row. Yeah. There were not a lot of upsets this year. And then I was doing radio in Chicago, and the host says, well, Texas is a Cinderella. I'm like, Texas spent the 4th most money in NIL this year. That is not a Cinderella. They were just an 11 seed. That's all.
Right. They just weren't as good as the money should have made them, maybe, right, to some extent or another. Is this overall? I mean, I know you're happy. Your Final Four is alive. Is it good for the tournament? Does it even matter anymore because the gambling is so? You can do it from your phone now. Like the tournament probably gets as much action, if not more action, than it's ever gotten, even if it's not as interesting to the casuals because the 22 favorites in a row won.
It's interesting. I mean, you're going to get the best matchups. I mean, these games tonight are crazy good. St. John's, Duke, Michigan State, UConn, Alabama, Michigan, Tennessee, Iowa State. I mean,
yeah, that's hot.
Those are 4 really, really good games with 8 really, really good programs. And, I see a lot of this, in the streets on the internet, like especially last weekend. Oh, college basketball's dead. I'm like, not really. You got the best team standing. So I've always wanted the best teams. I mean, it's a fun story when Loyola goes to the Final Four or when George Mason breaks it through. But in the modern day, you don't expect that anymore. I mean, last year we had 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four, and the Final Four was awesome. I mean, it was one of the best I remember. Usually when that Cinderella makes it to the Elite 8 or Final Four, they get cracked over the head with a crowbar. So do you want to watch? Do you want to watch 2 games that are close, or do you want to watch 1 game that's close and another team lose by 30? I'm in the first camp always.
With Sam Panayotovich, Chicken Dinner. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. Do you have an ear open with all this tournament noise to the Jack Adams Award race?
Lindy Ruff minus 300, Mike.
That's maybe the best it's been. We hear about different hockey analysts talking about this, Ruff and John Cooper. And a couple of nights ago,
Wednesday
TNT
night,
broadcast.
the TNT intermission, post-game panel there. Everyone said John Cooper, and their reasoning. There's 3 analysts all said John Cooper, and their reasoning was, I just can't believe he hasn't won it yet. Which, I think is fine if Lindy Ruff and the Sabres aren't having the year that they're having. But it's one of the best stories in hockey this season, if not the best story in hockey this season, that the Sabres have gotten this hot and climbed this far. They're not just fighting to get in the playoffs. They're fighting for, the top seed in the conference. It's crazy. And I just think, if that coach exists out there, then the career achievement guy, should not get the benefit of the doubt in a year like that, I don't think. And maybe he won't, but broadcasters vote on that award, Sam, and those guys are broadcasters.
That's fair. I also, not to cross sports here, but when I hear that everybody on TV likes Sean Cooper, I think about myself sitting down on Sunday night when I watched the pregame on NBC and the Ravens are playing the Steelers and all 9 people pick the Ravens, and I'm like, oh, I like the Steelers. You know, like,
Yeah.
I feel the same way. Like, okay, because the betting market disagrees. The betting market has gotten more expensive on Lindy Ruff, who I believe a week ago was even money or plus 110, and now he's minus 300. So you got to lay 3 to win 1. I guess let me ask you two a question. Since we have the Lindy bet, the 3 of us together, should we bet a little John Cooper plus 240? That's really the question, yes or no?
I mean, if my heart weren't where it was, I would do it. Probably hedge a little bit, but it's also not that big a bet that I'm really worried about it. You know,
I'm not a hedger usually. I like to just ride or die with what I decided to do, which I know, it can cost me money, but I still, whatever. I like to just stay the course.
I like your Ravens comparison. It would be perfect if those 9 NBC panelists voted at the end of the game who would win instead of if there being a scoreboard. But, point taken on that, and I'm very much the same way. Sabres for Cup? Anybody? That's more than 1,000, right?
Just keep asking. I think I said last Friday, this is the last time to get in. So, no, I don't want you to bet. I mean, if you're a Buffalonian and you're still naked on Buffalo, if you want to bet a little bit, fine. But, again, the train is leaving, and you are trying to jump on and grab the railing from a price standpoint. I mean, this is a team that 2 months ago was 50 to 1, 40 to 1. So if you want to bet 16 or 14 or 12, fine. But you're getting pennies on the dollar in that sense. As I always do, I listened to the first segment. Thank you for the White Sox crack, number 1.
Sure.
Number two. Well, they went up 1-0, and then they were down 14 to 1. I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Everybody makes a run, Sam.
I did hear that we might like the draw tonight between the Sabres and the Wings, huh?
Well, just to get a point,
yes,
because we sort of like we're playing chess here, not checkers. I think we agree that we'd like Detroit in the playoff pool. I think they're the weakest of the contending teams for playoff spots. So I'd rather have them in than say Ottawa or Columbus or the Islanders even. So let them get a point, and I'll maybe take my chances in overtime.
I perked up, and then naturally I went price shopping. So this is a conversation that everybody needs to have, especially during baseball season, like the importance of price. I have 3 sports books up right here: FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM. If you want to bet the regulation tie, FanDuel gives you plus 290, DraftKings gives you plus 320, BetMGM gives you plus 333. You can get 43 extra cents just by betting on the right book. And, a lot of people only have one book. Well, one book has 290, the other one has 333, or tree, as my friend Eddie Olczyk always says.
There's got to be a promo code out there we can glom onto this.
Right.
I have a White Sox playoff bet.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I know their total was down around 70, right? 70.5, something like that, maybe lower. But I don't know. Give me to 85 and see what happens.
I don't know that they're going to make the playoffs. I think they can get to 70 wins. The one team that a lot of wise guys like, and of course, it's not 1995 anymore. You can bet on playoff markets throughout the season. Like, you used to be able to just bet it before opening day, and then they shut the blinds. The one team I'm hearing a lot about from Vegas is the Miami Marlins. They took some bets at 7 to 1 and plus 650 to make the postseason. Very young team, but their manager, McCulloch, he took them from 62 wins 2 years ago to 79 last year, and they got better in the offseason. So if you're looking for some pizza money, if you want to bet a little to win a lot, I'm hearing the Miami Marlins are getting a lot of playoff bets in Vegas.
I heard Texas. Did you hear Texas too?
Yeah, Texas, that kind of happens every year with them, at least since they've started spending all that money and since they won the World Series. Yeah, I mean, Texas is they're like, the win total's like 82.5, so you're not going to get as big of a payout on them to make it. But I've heard some people that like big picture, like Texas to make the World Series. So to your point, that's another very popular one in the market for sure.
Thank you, Sam. Good luck tonight and this weekend. Anything with the podcast you want to mention?
No, podcast will be back next week. I'm betting Michigan tonight And I will be thinking of you guys when the Sabres and Wings are tied 2-2 after 3.
All right. We'll take it.
Good deal, Sam.
Right back at you. Thanks, Sam.
Bye-bye.
Sam Panayotovich, Chicken Dinner. Find that on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Wanted to say that.
That's how they say
Everybody
it.
says that.
Everybody
I never
says
say that.
Yeah.
Find it wherever you get your podcasts. Ryan Fowler on the NFL draft coming up at 4. We'll mix some baseball in, and of course, the Sabres game tonight against Detroit. Also, Sal Capaccio coming up at 5:30. We'll spend a few minutes with Sal in the wake of the news that Damar Hamlin is re-signing or has re-signed with the Bills. And I have a documentary recommendation for Sal and everybody.
Okay.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, that's ahead. This is WGR. Callers 5 and 6 right now at 716-221-4WGR. That's 4947. Each win a pair of tickets to see Wu-Tang Clan Forever, the Final Chamber, at Darien Lake Amphitheater, August 27th, courtesy of Live Nation. Tickets went on sale this morning at Ticketmaster.com. But, I mean, better to win them.
For sure. Free is always better. I was chuckling as we came back because I don't often look at the right side of my Twitter page. It's different on my iPad or my phone than it is on the desktop in here. And so today's news is over on the right-hand side of my desktop. And the top story there right now, I don't know why this just caught my eye. Nothing over there usually really does, but it's the headline is as follows. Former Washington Redskins head coach Jay Gruden reveals he did ... Do I want to click on that? Is it did? I'm going to guess that didn't got clipped there, or is did the word he did?
He did not scout his opponents.
Yeah.
He did not scout his opponents. He did not care if his team won or lost. He did not have Wi-Fi.
I clicked on it.
What does it say? He did
not want to draft Sua Cravens due to a positional misfit. That's literally.
We're all the worse for this.
And
we're all a little bit dumber.
And I think the player here has commented on the story.
Oh, well.
In question.
That's why it blew up.
Probably. Do you remember that? I know. Nope. I remember Jay Gruden,
yes.
And I remember the old name of the Washington football team. I'd never heard of this player, Sua. I'm not even sure I'm saying his name right. I'm sorry. Sua Cravens. Okay, I'm sorry. I just wasted all of our precious time.
Should we take it to Ryan Fowler?
I'm closing that up now. I don't want to.
Ryan, first thing. Hi, thanks for joining us here in Buffalo. Was it a mistake for Washington in 2000 to draft Sua Cravens when the coach didn't want to? Well, whose team is it? Ryan Fowler coming up, draft expert. NBC Sports Philadelphia now. Sabres and Red Wings tonight downtown. This is WGR.
Game night for the Buffalo Sabres. They're hosting the Detroit Red Wings pregame at 6 for a 7 p.m. puck drop. And Noah Ostlund, he is considered day-to-day, but has a possibility to play tonight, according to head coach Lindy Ruff. While in net, all signs are pointing to Alex Lyon getting the start tonight. The Sabres Injury Report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. It's another light night in the NHL, just one other game. The Rangers hosting Chicago. That will also get underway at 7. And then the Buffalo Bills make another one-year signing, and that is for bringing back safety DeMar Hamlin. We have more on that signing up at our website, WGR550.com, and we'll get more on this when Sal Capaccio joins the show at 5:30. More baseball this afternoon. Yankees at the Giants just after 4:30, and the Blue Jays will get their season started. They are hosting the Athletics just after 7 o'clock. While in the minors, the Bisons do drop their opener 8-0 to Scranton, while later tonight, Rochester will get their season started at Jacksonville just after 7 o'clock. And in college hoops, we got 4 more games tonight. St. John's and Duke will get things started at 7:10, followed by Michigan, Alabama at 7:30. Once those 2 games are wrapped up, it'll be Michigan State, UConn, and then Iowa State, Tennessee. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
You might be mocking me or you might be staunchly agreeing with me. I can't tell.
I'm mocking you.
And the Bulldog
What is Fozzie Bear's role in this production?
on WGR Sports Radio 550.
I admit it. I don't read the sporting news like I used to. Jacksonville has a team in the International League.
You betcha.
I found that out today.
The Shrimps. Something Shrimps. Gulf Shrimps? No, they're not on a Gulf, Jacksonville. That wouldn't make sense.
Jumbo
Shrimps.
Jumbo shrimp.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to make it plural.
Well, you were being normal.
There is that, yeah.
Championship celebration.
Huh?
That's what I'm seeing. They're celebrating a championship tonight. Man, I got to follow sports. I got to start following sports. It's too much.
It's a new team? I
don't know.
I never heard that name before this year.
Our guest will know. This is when Ryan Fowler decides never to take our calls again. Who are the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp? I mean, if you know, Ryan, bring it. I'd be super impressed, but no pressure. There's no points for getting this wrong. No points lost.
They're baseball, correct?
Baseball, yeah.
Yes.
We'll give it to you.
I guess we
give
haven't-
it to him. Yes, International League. The
Good work,
Bison's
Ryan.
open today, and there's a team now in the league. Maybe they were, and this is embarrassing, named Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Anyway.
I feel like I
sorry
would have
for the-
heard that last year at some point during baseball season
Yes.
if they existed last year.
Unless they just refused to play the Bisons, and that's why we never did.
Well, that would be weird.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Ryan. Thanks for your patience. Ryan Fowler with us, draft analyst. We are within a month now. Let's get the macro from you so far this season, Ryan, like how this draft feels to you, what you kind of expect from it.
Yeah. First off, fellas, it's good to be back. Hope everybody is doing well. Look, this draft for a lot of folks out there, I think, are a little bit down on this class as far as the blue chip talent really runs out quickly at the top, and I'm right there with them. However, I always try to do my due diligence in each draft, guys, and really dive into the weeds. Really, when you get past day 2, 4th, 5th round bucket is really where I think in this draft, you're going to find a lot of players that can really contribute on offense and on defense. And now there's a lot of positional groups. I think linebacker, I think receiver, I think edge specifically really pop off the page, tight end as well. 27 of them were invited to the combine. You're going to find a lot of players in those classes. And if you're a GM in football that really does your due diligence and trusts your collegiate scouting staff that was out on the road for the entirety of the fall and even scouting this class really for the past 2-3 years, you're going to find some contributing players in those middle to late rounds in this class. I actually really do like this class, even though some others may not.
Well, I like to hear that, especially about linebacker, because like that feels like a position, especially like, interior linebackers, like not guys that are like pass rush specialists as well. I mean, those are classified as edge anyway, but I feel like linebacker is sort of the defensive version of the running back, although that's changed over the last few years. More teams are running it more, and you've seen more running backs drafted earlier than probably the previous 5 or 8, 10 years. I feel like linebackers that, like, I think I should be able to find a linebacker, inside linebacker, that can play for me on Saturday without much trouble. Most years, but it sounds like this year especially.
Yeah, it's a heck of a group. It really is. And you made a good point. When you move closer to the middle of the football field, communication, leadership, guys that not just, say it, but also show it with their pads and pop. And when you look at the Bills right now, as far as guys that they're going to look to have in the middle of this new look Jim Letter defense, whether it's an atypical 3-4, they're going to look some hybrid looks and a couple bear fronts with 5 down linemen. You don't really know until we really get to training camp and you see them in week 1. But you mentioned as far as Saturday, that early 4th-round bucket, I think a couple guys come to mind. Keyshawn Elliott from Arizona State, extremely, extremely physical type of football player that sets the tone in the middle. And then a guy that, look, all the attention right now at Alabama is on Deontay Lawson as far as how long he played in the SEC. But I think his teammate in Justin Jefferson is going to be the guy that plays quicker than him as far as gets snaps quicker in the NFL and also better than him long term. So Justin Jefferson, again, and Keyshawn Elliott, two of those early day 3 guys, really like their skill sets as far as versatile players. And if you're drafted early portions of day 3 at the linebacker position, you may also have to cut your teeth on special teams as well. So both of those guys, I think, will be able to do that and are absolutely names to know in this middle of this, potentially adding to this Bills defense.
With Ryan Fowler, Ryan, you lay out, and I've heard the same from other analysts as well, the positions where the draft is the strongest. They're right in line with what the Bills' needs appear to be. I mean, I don't know about interior defensive line, but linebacker, edge, wide receiver, I guess the Bills are fortunate to be in a draft where what they need is where it's kind of rich.
Yeah, they are. They are. And again, it's going to be all 7 rounds. You're going to be able to find guys. I think you look at receiver, you're going to have what's really Brandon Beane's flavor. Is it going to be an Omar Cooper Jr.? Is it going to be a Casey Concepcion? Both those guys are 3-level threats. Casey's got a little more juice in his game as far as after the catch than what I've seen in Omar's tape. Or do they want a bigger physical player to what they thought they were going to have with a guy like Keon Coleman? I think he's still a talented kid, but right now it has not worked out. It hasn't come to fruition. Are they going to value a guy? Potentially they take a swing on a guy like Malachi Fields late on day 1. Is it Chris Brazzell, Denzel Boston from Washington? Or do you move in the middle rounds? Jacoby Lane from USC, Bryce Lance from North Dakota State. This receiver group, there's short guys, there's tall guys, there's guys that create after the catch. There's a lot of unique skill sets at those positions. And then you mentioned corner. Look, there's a really good separation as far as day 2, day 3, as far as what the nickel class looks like. Headliner really is D'Angelo Pons from Indiana, one of the pound-for-pound best players in this class. I wish the kid was 20 pounds heavier and an inch taller. I think he goes back into night 1, but we don't have that luxury. He's an outstanding football player. Deontay Scott from Miami, or do you want a bigger physical player? There are only 3 guys at the Combine that measured in 6'3" or taller. Devin Moore from Florida and the 2 Washington guys, Tacario Davis and Ephesians Prysock, one of the best names in this class, guys.
Wow.
Both those guys, all vertically impressive players. So it's really going to depend on what the flavor is of each offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, how they evaluate their board. But really in those positions of need for Buffalo, there are going to be a lot of players to add on all 7 rounds.
Ryan, I'd like to jump back to receiver for a second here. Not that I'd assume we're all following the same people on social media, but probably some of them because it's, draft content. And so today feels like Ted Hurst Day on my Twitter feed. Like I saw numerous draft analysts posting videos and retweeting videos of Ted Hurst from Georgia State. 6'4", 206. Where is this player falling, and how interesting a prospect is he to you?
Yeah, it would be really nice if the Bills had a 2nd-round pick because that's where I think Ted Hurst is going to go. I really do.
Too soon, Ryan.
Talking to some of his reps guys over the past really couple months, Ted had a ton of offers to leave Georgia State for a lot of money, and he stayed there. And look, they did not have a good year. It was disgusting down there, really, what it was for the Panthers this year. But his ability, like you said, 6'4", 205, he's a three-level threat. I think he's outstanding. And again, I think he's someone for if you're looking across this draft board, who's one or two guys that are maybe going to go much higher than maybe the consensus. If you're looking across different sites of their big boards, and most of them have Ted Hurst in that 90 to 120 range. I don't think at all he gets to 90. I'd be surprised he gets past 65 and 70. This is a very physically impressive player, and on tape against lower level competition, he showcased well. Then he goes to the Senior Bowl where he really showcased well in those one-on-one scenarios, and then also in team drills where he asked him to block on the perimeter as a big player, take designated touches. He's a guy that's really taken advantage of this pre-draft process. He looks the part. He plays the part. I think he's going to be a really nice player for wherever he lands, likely for me at least, in the second round is where I think he's going to come off the board.
With Ryan Fowler, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here on WGR. I mean, I'm sort of chirping when you say I wish they had a second-round pick. I wish they had a second-round pick. I think this is the majority opinion, actually. That's the problem I have with the trade for DJ Moore is that it just cost too much, not to mention the money he got. But I don't have a DJ Moore problem. I just think they could have been better off doing this differently. Do you agree?
I do agree. I think you could have added DJ Moore in this draft, guys. I really do. And I think it wouldn't have cost the money that you paid DJ as well. I mean, for me, DJ Moore has always been a guy that hasn't lived up to expectation, whether that was in Chicago or whether that was in Carolina before. You know, a guy coming out of Maryland I thought was a fine player and at his best, a wide receiver 2 in the NFL and very average at that. I think, again, in this class, and the reason why I said the second round is where this receiver group is so deep, and it really does start once you get past Lemon, Tate, and Tyson, and still, as of right now, I'm not even sure where Jordan Tyson goes. I still think he's a top 20 pick, but not sure exactly where he goes with the injury concerns, which are legitimate. This receiver class is outstanding, and it's really going to go all 7 rounds. I don't think you needed to add a guy like DJ Moore in this situation where you could have found one really in those top 50 to 60 picks.
How about KC Concepcion? I mentioned this, phrasing about how it feels like a Ted Hurst day on my Twitter feed. I would say the same thing about Concepcion earlier this week or over last weekend. A lot of Bills fan and a lot of Bills analysts and even just national analysts have been highlighting KC Concepcion. And that's a player that might be viable at 26 if the Bills do decide to go receiver, despite having made the big investment in assets and money in DJ Moore. How do you feel about the Texas A&M wideout?
Yeah, I'll say this in that, I think I do like Khalil Shakir. I really do in the slot. I think he's a dynamic player that can really expand your ground game as well for his ability and designated touches. But when you look at KC Concepcion, I don't think you potentially, if you really like him, go and get your guy. I'm always in support of that. I don't think you don't add a Concepcion because you made a move for DJ Moore, because I think what KC is able to do right away is win in those shallow to intermediate areas, and he's going to expand your ground game as well as far as he can create undesignated touches, take pressure off of Josh Allen, not to do everything on every single play, which he's been asked to do now for a long, long time, as you guys understand, with both his arm and his leg. So one thing in KC's game, he's a guy also that can take it the distance on special teams as well as a punt returner potentially. You want to throw him back there as well. He is absolutely dynamic after the catch. Really, for me, the best after the catch in this class, right alongside a healthy Chris Bell from Louisville at 215 pounds. It's not Lemon, it's not Tate, it's not Tyson. So KC is a guy that does not lose foot races. When the ball is in his hands, really the route and the concept, if you will, really does start. He's an explosive type of playmaker that I do expect to go back end of night one. And if he ends up in a Bills uniform, I fully expect him right now to potentially lead this team in targets, receptions, and touchdowns in year one.
What about Tyson? That's big.
Yeah.
You mentioned you think he still goes in the top 20. What's your latest, if you could expound on that, your latest thought on how the league sees him?
Yeah, I mean, as fluid an athlete as you're going to find, guys, in this class, and this is smokescreen season. I'll say that. It always matters who you're getting it from, because some people talk to different sources and some people talking to the same people. It's just always important now, this time of year, less than a month out, of really where you're getting that information from. And there are legitimate concerns for Jordan as far as the ACL, MCL, PCL, the collarbone, the hammies. That's a legitimate concern if you're taking a risk on a guy potentially in the top 15 picks to come in and be your boundary X receiver. I think at his best, I think he's absolutely a guy that can be a wide receiver 1 at the NFL level. I think he's a guy that's had no injuries. I mean, that's something I don't like playing hypotheticals. He's absolutely a top 10 lock for me and someone that can really be a wide receiver 1 and a top potential 10 to 12 receiver in football. But we don't have that luxury right now with his profile. So, again, I think that 10 to 20 range is where he comes off the board. Is there a team in the late 20s maybe that wants to make a move up? We will see what happens, but that's really where I think he's going to go because the injury concerns are a legitimate concern for teams.
You tripped another wire for me mentioning Chris Bell because that's a very interesting player to me. I mean, there's the injury late November, right? So an ACL. So you've got that to work with. And then I get the impression, again, poring over like different analysts and whatnot in the last few weeks or so, that there's a talent looking at film of him that maybe wasn't utilized to the best extent by Louisville. I don't know if you agree with that and could kind of expound upon Bell, because there's a sentiment out there that feels like he's really electric, but just hasn't really had the chance to show it yet. And then you got the injury piece as well.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think it reminds me a couple of years ago, not exact parallels, but at the tight end position, when you watch Sam Laporta at Iowa and you projected him to an offense that really expands vertically and from an aerial perspective, you say, man, this kid's a really good player. And obviously what he's turned into, right, in that Detroit offense of the last few years. Now with Chris Bell, that Miller Moss run offense, I'm right there with other people as far as what they've said, as far as, hey, it's the guy that's really won on dig routes and crossers and designated touches. If he gets into an NFL scheme to where he can be a wide receiver too, the attention is on somebody else. And I think he's someone that can be a 3-level threat. Physically, he's one of the most imposing receivers in this class. And I mentioned him right alongside Concepcion as far as his ability to create after the catch. And that's personally what I would love in a receiver. I don't want you catching the ball and falling forward 4 yards. There's a concern with scouts even with that sometimes in Jordan Tyson's tape, going over the middle of the field, falling instead of trying to get those extra yards, always falling forward. So Chris Bell, it's unfortunate the ACL happens in November. Everything I've heard, he's going to be good to go as you work into the summer months and into the regular season, barring any setback. Of course, things can change. But that is a physically imposing type of football player that I do think also goes in the second round. But again, my point earlier, if Brandon Beane loves Chris Bell, they believe in his skill set as a physically imposing kid, and they're in the back end of round one where you trust your board, you trust your scouting staff, I think this is absolutely a player that can come in and be a wide receiver one for you for the long haul.
A few minutes left with Ryan Fowler. How about Jeremiah Love, Ryan? Where do you see him landing? What's your guess?
He's an outstanding football player, guys. If you were to ask me 3 players in this class, I think that it'd be Pro Bowlers in year one: Jeremiah Love, Caleb Downs, and then Vanga Ioane, the interior offensive lineman from Penn State, at non-premium positions. It's a very unique year. But Jeremiah Love, I think, is in that Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs category for me. I think he's someone that can be an electric inside and outside the tackles, whether you want to run power, whether you want to run outside zone. I mean, look at some of his tape. On the outside, he's running dig routes, he's running posts, he's running 9 routes over corners. He's just a really outstanding football player that's going to expand your offensive playbook. And he is the 1B to on my board, 1A, which is Caleb Downs, the top 2 players overall in my class. I think he's a sensational football player. He's a sensational young man as well that just wants to live and breathe football. And wherever he lands, whether that's at Tennessee, to the Giants, or to potentially Washington at 7, I think he's going to expand their offense immediately and become really one of the most dynamic ball carriers and offensive weapons in the NFL in due time.
Are we one and done with running backs in round 1 this year, or do you think there's another one that could sneak in?
I think if there's one that sneaks in, it's Jadarian Price. Keep an eye on him to the Seattle Seahawks in the back end of day 1 at 32.
And lastly, Ryan, what about quarterbacks here? Everybody's got Mendoza at 101. There's some Ty Simpson buzz. How many of these guys are interesting to you?
I like Mendoza. I don't love him. I have a mid to late first round on Fernando. Ty Simpson, I have a 2 on. The second round quarterback really doesn't exist in today's day and age because player development and coaching, it really goes from organization to organization. And in 2026 in a microwave society, it just doesn't really exist. But again, Mendoza and Simpson are 1-2. I would have really liked to see Trinidad Chambliss declare if that worked out that way. He would have been QB2 for me in this class behind Mendoza. But really behind those guys, I think there's some interesting names. I mean, Cade Klubnik from Clemson, Carson Beck from from Miami. We've been talking about him for seems like a decade now. Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, Drew Aller from Penn State. I still like the skill set on him. The mobility does scare me, but the arm talent is evidently there. 2 guys, though, at the quarterback position that are very interesting in this class. One even may potentially be QB3 in this class. I'm not sure if Cole Payton from North Dakota State gets out of day 2. A lot of NFL teams like his skill set as a big physical player that they can really work with. And then Taylon Green from Arkansas. Long way to go as a quarterback, but you can't find 6'5", 6'6" guys that run 4.3 that could potentially come in and even be a wide receiver in the future. I don't know if it's going to be quarterback, but someone is going to take a chance on both those guys really day 2 in that third-round type of bucket. And, again, keep an eye on Cole Payton. I think he goes much higher than a lot of people think as of right now.
I know Mike said last thing, but he didn't consult me before he said it.
That's true.
So I want to squeeze in edge real quick, Ryan. That is certainly a position of need for the Bills. How likely is it that they could get an impactful player at the edge position at 26?
I think it's highly impactful. Now, do you want your atypical 3-4 end, or are you going to get a guy that really just gets after the passer? Because I think you could have a shot at a Cassius Howell, even though obviously the arm length is huge. However, you watch his tape in the SEC facing future NFL tackles, his ability to win in a variety of ways is excellent. Now, do you want a Derek Moore from Michigan, Zion Young from Missouri, more power-bound, power-laden Jared Verse types of players? But I think one name to know that may even sneak in the back end of day 1, guys, is R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma, 6'2", 245 pounds, extremely explosive, can play on all 3 downs, extremely versatile and mature pass rush repertoire as well. So back end of day 1, I think there are a lot of guys to know in this edge class. It's just going to really vary what Brandon Beane wants in this specific type of body type.
I'm mostly looking for a guy to get around the edge and set an offensive tackle on fire. So that's it. That's all that's so good. I think Howell sounds pretty tasty to me.
I agree. I like Cassius Howell as well. Someone that, again, SEC experience, a little bit undersized, but again, we're talking about the arm length stuff. I think the arm length will show up in the ground game more so than getting after the passer and his variety and what he can show. He shows me a lot of what I've seen on tape as Nick Bonito, really in that spinner role. I'm not comparing the 2 players. Nick is longer than Cassius, but in that type of role where you're going to pin your ears back and get after the quarterback, teams want to drop back 35-plus times. You're facing Lamar Jackson. You're facing Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, the long list of names in the AFC that I know you guys know. You got to get a guy that can get after the quarterback. And I think Cassius Howell, if he was there and the Bills won him, I think it's actually a really nice fit.
Thank you, Ryan. Where can we find more of your work?
Absolutely. You can find me at NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Very good. Appreciate your time. We'll talk again down the road.
Absolutely. Thanks as always, guys.
Ryan Fowler, NBC Sports Philadelphia. I regret to inform you that the defending International League champions are the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. And I believe AAA champions as well, having beaten Las Vegas in the series that follows the International League Championship Series, in which last year they beat Scranton Wilkes-Barre. That one
I've heard of.
Rolls off the tongue. We know that one.
That's the Rail Riders, I believe.
It is the Rail Riders.
So did they play the Bisons?
I don't know.
Last year,
I'd like to think I would have noticed.
Yeah, I think so too. I just never have heard it before.
But they've been in for a few years.
Okay, well,
and they are the defending champs and are celebrating that achievement tonight against the Rochester Red Wings in Jacksonville. Be funny if they celebrated in Rochester.
That would be odd. Yes, I agree. All right. Well, hats off to the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
That's right. Congratulations. Are in order.
I feel bad for not knowing you not only existed, but are the champions of a league in which we have a team locally. I feel a lot of shame.
They are the only team in the league, 20 teams. I'm looking at the list. It's not easy to find some of this sometimes, for me anyway. They're the only team I had no knowledge of. The rest of them, with enough time, I could have named them all. Now, do I sound defensive? I could have named the rest of the International League.
I do believe
I did not know about the Jumbo Shrimp.
Yeah, I'm merely basing this lack of knowledge, I guess, about the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp on sitting in here 5 days a week during baseball season and hearing in the update who the Bisons are playing tonight, either at home or on the road. And I just don't feel like I ever one time heard Zach Jones say the words in order, Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
I don't know. I read the game release every day, too.
Right.
I looked today to see what the Bisons were when leading after 8.
Right.
0-0. They hadn't played a game yet. Right. We'll keep you posted on that.
That was a bit from last year. Yep. All right. Well, you learn something every day.
Even if it's,
I mean, you can.
Even if it's years old.
Even if it's just about the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
Wide receiver names, Jordan Tyson, maybe a faller in the first round, injury stuff. We'll talk about that and more. Sal Capaccio in just over an hour. Then at 6, pregame for Sabres Red Wings downtown. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, you can reach us at 803-0550. This is WGR.
Game night tonight for the Buffalo Sabres. They are at home hosting the Detroit Red Wings. Pregame at 6 for a 7 p.m. puck drop. Noah Ostlund considered day-to-day. However, he does have a possibility to play tonight, according to head coach Lindy Ruff. While in net, all expectations are it'll be Alex Lyon who gets the start. And the Sabres Injury Report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. There's only one other game tonight. It is the Rangers hosting Chicago. That will also get underway at 7. And the Bills made another one-year signing. That is to bring back safety Damar Hamlin. And we have more on that signing up at our website, WGR550.com. And we'll get the latest on the Bills. Sal Capaccio joining the show in just about an hour at 5:30. To baseball, Yankees at Giants. That game will get going here in the next few minutes. While the Blue Jays, they will get their season started hosting the Athletics. That will get going just after 7 o'clock. While in the minors, the Bisons, they drop their opener 8-0 to Scranton. While later tonight, Rochester will get their season started versus Jacksonville. That game will get going just after 7 o'clock. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
If you're looking across different sites of their big boards, and most of them have Ted Hurst in that 90 to 120 range. I don't think at all he gets to 90. I'd be surprised he gets past 65 and 70. This is a very physically impressive player, and on tape against lower level competition, he showcased well. Then he goes to the Senior Bowl where he really showcased well in those one-on-one scenarios, and then also in team drills where he asked him to block on the perimeter as a big player, take designated touches. He's a guy that's really taken advantage of this pre-draft process. He looks the part. He plays the part. I think he's going to be a really nice player for wherever he lands, likely for me at least, in the second round is where I think he's going to come off the board.
Draft analyst Ryan Fowler on Ted Hurst. Doesn't have the good name. Malachi Hurst, Denzel Hurst,
That's a good
Jackson
name.
Smith
Doesn't have
Hurst
the
and
good name,
Jigba.
doesn't have the good school. Georgia State. What? Georgia State?
There's got to be a nickname somewhere hiding in his world, his life, where he can move off from Ted. No offense to Ted.
All the video I've seen of him, it's really one video that I just keep seeing, a half a dozen different analysts commenting on. I haven't seen anything about a nickname, so I can't help you there. I don't know.
It's too late.
Not. Oh, okay.
After he gets drafted, maybe, but now it would just be confusing. Is there someone else named? Is there another Hurst?
I see.
You can't change it now,
Yeah.
I think. Yankees and Giants getting started. Beautiful overhead shots of the Giant Stadium with the bay and all of it. San Francisco. Awesome place. The Dodgers. I watched the Dodgers last night. Peacock.
You found your way.
I did. Dodgers, Diamondbacks. The Dodgers had the gold outline of their letters and numbers because they won the World Series and their gold brim on their hats. I guess I liked it.
This is just for opening.
I don't know.
day?
Probably.
Yeah, I would think they haven't changed their uniform.
No, but I remember when the Royals won. That's 2015, I think. So that long ago. The next year they had a gold element on their uniforms. Maybe again only for opening day night.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, and I know you're not the biggest baseball fan anymore. Neither am I, really. But the Dodgers are one of those teams now. They've won the last 2 years. They spend way more than everybody else. They kind of toy with baseball. They don't have to win championships. It's not like that's automatic. Last year we saw how hard they got pushed and how close they were to losing. But the regular season is mostly a formality for the Dodgers now. But I think I might still like them. I'm not to the point yet where I hate the Dodgers. Like the Chiefs, and this is a little bit being from here, but the Chiefs won a couple, and it sort of seemed like everybody started to hate the Chiefs. Sick of them. I don't know what they really did that was so annoying. I mean, a couple of their personalities can be annoying, but there's a lot of guys on these teams.
Yeah.
And they get worse, too, than Mahomes and Kelsey.
I agree.
So the Chiefs, though, became like, we would talk to people on this show from anywhere, and that would come across like we're just all sick of
anybody
Chiefs.
but them kind of mentality. Yeah.
Yes. And
I don't feel that way about the Dodgers
I don't at all. I don't at all.
It might be the casual nature of my fandom at this point talking, but I think of the Dodgers, and I just appreciate that they still play in that ballpark, and they look like the Dodgers. I even made mention, I know one time last year, they were like some highlighted game on some like Friday night on Apple or something. Maybe it was a standalone game on not a common carrier. If that makes sense. This is how we talk now about sports.
Carrier.
Right? And they were wearing some just not the Dodger uniform, playing the Yankees. And I remember saying, there should be a rule that if you're the Dodgers and you're playing the Yankees, and it's like it's Fox Baseball Night in America or whatever it would have been, which is not like a new standalone carrier anyway, you should wear your regular stuff. Just I'm in part here because it's the Dodgers and the Yankees, and I want it to look like the Dodgers and the Yankees because I was born in 1965, and so that but I like everything about them because it just reminds me of, being a kid still.
Well, there might be a baseball difference there, specific to baseball. I think it's their players and even their manager that just give off a friendlier vibe, maybe. I mean, certainly Ohtani. I don't think it's easy, if it's even possible, to dislike Ohtani. How do you dislike Ohtani? We've never seen anything like him.
I don't know.
And there's nothing really about him that is annoying. I mean, he's not the most demonstrative. Yep. He's not, he's very likable.
Unless you think like the gambling scandal was a sham or something. I guess you could hang on to that if might
be the only thing.
I think in my opinion it is.
I think Betts is super likable.
I love Mookie Betts.
I think Freeman is. The pitcher, Yamamoto, last year became a star. What do you even know about him? Kershaw wasn't ever a problem, like somebody that baseball fans didn't appreciate or like. He's retired now. He was on the broadcast last night, sitting next to the dugout in a suit.
Yeah, I saw that. That's interesting. You mentioned the manager. I mean, the manager is a Red Sox folk hero for me. So is Mookie Betts, for that matter. So there is that. I mean, Dave Roberts is, responsible for one of the greatest moments in the history of the Red Sox franchise.
Not everybody would feel the same way about any of these guys, but for me, I mean, it even gets beyond those names, like the lesser stars, Teoscar Hernandez or a few other guys. I don't know, like I think I should be at a point where I'm sort of, especially being with Toronto last year, but I'm really not. So I don't know if there's something about them that makes them immune to this kind of thing, or if I'm just sort of on my own. But you're with me on this.
I'm kind of with you.
Point.
Yeah, like they don't. I think it is the casual thing. I mean, even though you care about Toronto, you're not living and dying on it. Like you wanted them to win, but it's not like so you're not bitter about it. I don't think anyway. No. And that is, if you're way all the way in with a team, then maybe that would be different. But I'm really not that way about even the Red Sox. I mean, I'm enjoying this sort of little rebirth, going to the game last year and following them with my son, and we're going to go to a couple of games in the summer in Pittsburgh, and I like that. It feels good to be sort of re-engaged with them, but I'm not, I don't know what their lineup looks like yet. And every time I sat down to watch them last year, I'd be like, I don't know who that is. Who is that? So maybe I'll do better than that this year. It's early. This didn't start for me last year until I decided to go to a game, and then I was kind of playing catch up for the the back end of the summer.
1-0.
Right.
Yesterday we had the Mets, and you were talking about something in reference, like I'm not really a Mets fan anymore. I was in the 80s pretty intensely, and then that I grew out of it. But this is 40 years since 86. And I know they're doing a lot with it.
Oh, yeah.
Different, like, Wall of Fame inductions and an overall, like, a team reunion. I'm sure they will milk the hell out of it.
They couldn't just wait until 50.
Well, they'll probably do it again.
Do it again at 50, right? Yeah.
But, guys pass on. I mean, you got
to do what you can do when you can do it.
This is a great spot, right? 40 years since that epic World Series. And so maybe this year I'll get a little bit, like if there's a reunion, an 86 Mets reunion, and I'm home, I'm going to want to see it. And some of those guys are still very prominent as broadcasters, like Hernandez and Darling.
Sure. Yep.
So it's not like in Gooden and Strawberry, their stories have been told so many times. They're not like out of the public eye altogether. So it won't be, I haven't seen this face in forever. It won't be quite like that. Some of them, we're all wondering what Rick Aguilera is doing now.
Yes. And does he still
what does he look like?
And does he still have that like magic marker beard he used to rock? Didn't he have a really tightly trimmed beard?
Later.
Yeah, like almost a little more than a shadow, but a beard.
Yeah, like Ryan Day.
Yeah, right.
That's when he went to the Twins, Aguilera, and was the closer for the Twins. He put that beard on.
That's
maybe he felt Jeff Reardon pressure.
Right, maybe. Right.
But with the Mets, now with the Mets.
Okay.
When Dave Henderson hits that homer, you can see his face.
Okay.
There's no beard.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
We lost Gary Carter.
Right. Yes. Anyone else that you can think like?
You know what? This is I don't even really want to admit this, but when I think about like old teams, that's one of the first things I think about is how many of them are dead.
Yeah.
Sort of like because it's morbid. I don't know why I think about that, but it starts with how long ago it was.
Yeah.
And I can remember it. I lived through it, and some of those guys would be all like in their 60s or even older, depending on who we're talking about. And, life. But I don't know about anybody else on that Met team. Boston, though, it was not you and me, right? It was at the baseball draft I went to in Philadelphia. We were talking about this. The 86 Red Sox. Henderson is dead. Seaver was on that team, is dead. Baylor is dead, was on that team.
Yep.
Buckner is dead. I think there was someone else. Well, the manager probably is dead, right? I guess I don't know that one for sure. McNamara?
Probably. Yeah.
Davey Johnson is dead.
Trying to think who
Met
else.
Manager.
John
McNamara died in 2020.
I don't want to start guessing it whether I don't. But the reason
that's not good radio.
Right.
Who's dead? 803.
Right. When I asked you, first thought I had was Lenny Dykstra seems like he could be dead, but I don't think he is. He's not.
It's incredible.
He had this this very rough around the edges is a way to put it gently, I guess. Life after baseball.
Oh my God! Nobody's ever been more rough around the edges than Nails. I mean, he absolutely picture in the whatever the book is that has terms. It wouldn't be a dictionary entry, but whatever that book is, there's Dykstra. Yep. Well, I don't know if he's persona non grata or what. If he'd be around for any sort of reunion stuff. But he's also somebody that has not hidden from the public sphere.
No, he's
Dykstra.
Kind of, yeah.
Any Stern fan knows this.
Right. He's a little, maybe he saw
my
it
goodness.
actually more than hid from it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. The Sabres home to Patrick Kane and the Red Wings tonight. Big game for both teams, maybe especially Detroit, now sitting 2 teams out in the playoff race. We'll be back after this break here on WGR. Yesterday we were talking about Paul Skeens, the Pirates pitcher who got removed from their game at the Mets yesterday in the first inning after giving up 5 runs. Did anybody else get Josh Allen vibes from him? I feel like I'm watching Allen pitch. And by the way, I bet Josh Allen could get people out.
I bet he could too. Yeah, I kind of see the facial hair.
Looks like him, close enough, big.
There's yeah.
Sort of bigger than the game.
Yeah.
Like Allen is.
Yeah. Yeah, I can kind of see it. Yeah.
Every time I see Skeens, I think of Allen. You think they've met?
Yes.
This one, there really is no way to find out. I mean, unless you know.
Hang on. Let me text Josh.
One of them, but
do I
I wonder if anybody else gets that.
Do I now need to say on the radio that, of course, I don't have Josh Allen's phone number? No, I don't. I'm not going to text Josh.
DeMar Hamlin re-signs with the Bills. Sal will join us at 5:30 to talk about that. DeMar Hamlin should always be a Bill. There. Put that meme up where I'm young Abe Lincoln. Oh, G has a picture of Allen and Skeens together, so that's...
right.
There's
nice.
one way to find out.
That works. All right, good deal. Well done, G.
That meme with young Abe Lincoln standing up and people put up some unpopular take.
Yes, right.
I'm not sure this is unpopular, but Hamlin should only ever play for the Bills. No?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like this is an odd take for you.
Yes.
So I don't really know what to do. It's sort of, it's emotional and sympathetic, and I'm not sure how to handle that coming from you.
I know.
In this situation, so I'm not really sure what to say. But like, okay, it's like now I'm in a position where I'm supposed to be the mean guy that's like, can he play? Is he going to help me?
A couple of years ago, we were talking to Sal. I'm like, Sal, could the Bills ever really release DeMar Hamlin? He's like, yes. So,
yep.
I mean, I know how it works.
I feel you. I appreciate.
I don't mean
your
any one-day contract nonsense either.
Yep. I appreciate the sentiment. I do. It mostly was an eye roll for me when I saw it. Just being honest. I mean, it's been an incredible story, obviously, but I don't know. Like we've done it all there. I think. Like I just can't. Hat tip. I mean, fine, but. I don't know how he makes the team with the guys they've got here, especially if they draft someone at that position too. I think he's outranked by the guys that have been brought in, the 2 guys that were brought in here a week or 2 ago, C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Geno Stone. But that's only 2 guys, and then you've got Bishop, and then maybe Hamlin's the 4th guy, and like that's it, I guess. Yeah, I'm really shook by you putting that out there. I just
I mean, a football team should have room for a decent depth player no matter what the circumstances are. I mean, it's not like a player of Hamlin's caliber should be, making or breaking you. And, I'd break the tie on he is a part of one of the greatest things ever in Bills history. The heroic events of that night and that week, and he is the star of that show. I mean, if that's not awkwardly put, and I feel good thinking about that, and I like that he's back. The Bisons lost 8-0 today, by the way. We'll be back after sports here on WGR.
Sabres pregame coming up in just about an hour as they are at home hosting the Detroit Red Wings, a 7 p.m. puck drop tonight. Noah Ostlund is considered day-to-day, though does have a possibility to play, according to head coach Lindy Ruff. And then in net tonight, all signs are pointing to Alex Lyon getting the start. And the Sabres injury report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. There is only one other game tonight. It is the Rangers hosting Chicago, also at 7 o'clock. And the Buffalo Bills, that's another one-year contract they're handing out. This time, it brings back safety DeMar Hamlin. We have more on that signing up at our website, WGR550.com. And do stay tuned. Coming up in just about a half hour at 5:30, Sal Capaccio will join the show. In baseball, Yankees at the Giants. That game is currently scoreless in the second inning. And the Blue Jays, they're going to get their season started later tonight when they host the Athletics just after 7. And in college hoops, 4 more games tonight. St. John's and Duke will get it started at 7:10. Then Michigan, Alabama at 7:30. Then following those 2 games, it'll be Michigan State, UConn, and then Iowa State, Tennessee. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
Hey, put a little. I never get this line out the first time. It's not even good. Hey, put a little bit more in there, cowboy.
And the Bulldog.
What's your degree in?
Kicking ass and taking names.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Bulldog and I each showing our, well, I'll say this for myself at least, scaredy cat self. We want overtime tonight. I'm sure the Sabres are favored. A favorite. I combined those 2 words and made a meal out of it. Maybe it's a little bit too conservative to say you want overtime. I don't care so much about the Red Wings piece. Whoever that is, I don't think Detroit is bad. Like, whoever that team is, if the Sabres do finish first, that they get from the wild card, I mean, it's going to look close, I think. Boston, Ottawa, Columbus, Islanders, Red Wings, right? Probably one of those 5. Maybe Montreal, but I doubt it.
Right, Montreal. I think the likeliest scenario you run into Montreal is if Tampa beats you out and you end up in second.
Oh yeah,
but
then that's happening.
That's in the window. Like that might be like this. I don't even know. Is it the most likely outcome? It certainly if they fall out of first place, it is. I think that, but I don't know how likely it is that they will lose out to Tampa. For me, it's funny because the whole idea is all about Detroit. Otherwise, I don't think I would sign up for overtime if not for the Detroit wanting them to sort of get in. So let them get a point off me, and hopefully I'll get the second one in an overtime or a shootout. Otherwise, I don't think I would say, yeah, give me overtime. I would just let's play the feud. I'm gonna beat you and knock you out. Not entirely. I mean, they're not out if they lose tonight, but it is a big game. It's like a 20% swing in their playoff odds. And even with a win, Detroit is not even above 50% to make it. That's how in tough they are right now.
A couple of losses, and look what happens.
Right.
That's really what it is. I mean, they've lost a couple games.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't take much, which, the Sabres, to me, the reason I'm so comfortable with where they are and not really focused on the magic number or when are they going to clinch is that, to me, it would just take a calamitous epic, and I know, like, Buffalo sports fans are waiting to tell you, like, I'm not counting any chickens. I just think they've been too good for that. Like, they could really, really fade here and still make it. So I don't see them falling out. So I'm not like nervous about their situation at all. So I don't know. Without the Detroit getting a point mattering to me, I wouldn't say give me overtime.
803-0550. Sal this morning, we'll have Sal on at 5:30, was talking about, all right, so what's good enough for this year? And I thought about it. I know Sal was saying people were telling him, why is it anything but win the Stanley Cup? But obviously his point isn't, what you want to have happen. Mm-hmm. The standard cannot be that high. Can't really be that high for any team, pretty much.
No, we're going to have to refamiliarize ourselves, I think, as individual fans and collectively as a fan base to the realization that, like you already alluded to it, whoever they play, it's going to be close, and there's going to be probably some luck involved. I mean, it's a hockey series, and we are definitely, I think we all are, I think, out of shape in thinking about that and how it should be. It just, the games are all going to be close, and there'll probably be a couple of overtime games in every series you play. And, okay, I hope we find our way, right? I'm going to need a power play goal here and there, right? I mean, close game late. Oh, wow, power play with 6 minutes to go in a tie game. You got to get that goal. You want to win playoff games and win playoff series. And that's how close it'll be, really tight. As awesome as the Sabres have looked, I think they have as good a chance as anyone. But everyone else has as good a chance as them. Like, it's the playoffs.
Sal wanted to find out from fans what is maybe the worst case scenario, but you're still happy. And I really couldn't think of an answer. I mean, if they fall apart in the next 10 games and somehow miss, very unlikely given, just statistically, then, well, we'll have to see how that happened, and we'll have that.
Yeah.
But I'm not considering that as a possibility. I think they're in. And if they lose in round one, what am I going to do with it? Rip them? I mean, I don't feel like I'm probably going to be inclined to do that. So it's like the beginning of the Bills run. You hope that this is the beginning of a run and not just a fluke. But when that happened, when they made the playoffs, especially the second time, I would say, with Allen and lost to Houston, I mean, it was a close game, an overtime game, and it was winnable. But I didn't feel like it was exactly right to be killing them.
You should have been better than that.
Yeah, and I'm expecting to feel that way about the Sabres. And I'm going to want to feel that way because the kind of season this has been, I'm not feeling like this is going to end with sort of like oh my God, I can't believe they did that, kind of a result.
Yeah.
Because it will be close, and I want to appreciate what it all is. So I wasn't in the conversation with him this morning, but listening to it, I didn't really think that there was a right answer to it.
Yeah.
Because I'm already not satisfied, but I'm already to a point where I think some scenario where you'd be inclined to be really critical just isn't possible.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned Allen and that 19 season, because what I think, while the Sabres being back at the level they're at like contender status, where someone in the locker room a month ago says we're here to win the Stanley Cup, like Alex Tuch did, and it doesn't get laughed out of the hockey universe necessarily. At least I didn't see evidence of that, and I certainly didn't find it ridiculous that he said that. I thought
we loved it.
All right, way to step out and say it. They are not, so they're new to being contenders, but it's not like they're a bunch of new guys. There's new, the trade deadline guys and new guys this year. But even this is Zucker's second year here. He's newer. But the guts of the team, Thompson, Dahlin, Tuch, Power, Samuelson, we've been through it with these guys already. Allen was still new enough in 19. It's his second year. He's new on the stage, and you can kind of, a little bit like Drake May this past year, they got farther than the Bills got. I mean, they won 2 playoff games and, got handled in the Super Bowl. Okay, come on back next year and we're going to keep going. And not that the Sabres are so old that these guys are going away anytime soon, but they're also not new. They're just new to being good. And that has me feeling a little less like you. I'm not trying to set my stage so I can rip them liberally if it, goes off the rails here. But I think they're good enough, and I believe in it enough that I need a round. I think anything less than at least one round, if they beat whoever they play in the first round and then lose to Tampa, hat tip, good job. good year. That's a great team, a perennial contender, lots of stars, lots of guys that are familiar with the whole scene. Like, it'll sting, but I don't think I'll be, how did you lose to that team? And again, it's hockey, so to be like that about any opponent is maybe foolish, but I feel like they've been good enough that it would really, for me, it would be a big letdown if they didn't at least win a round. So that would be my answer. Like, go win a 7-game series.
I'd have to admit that's a little bit stronger than where I am.
Yeah.
I mean, a letdown, I will definitely feel disappointed if they don't. But what will it say about their season? Maybe it depends on how it happens. I mean, you want, what we're talking about is like criticism. Well, what form would it take? I mean, how they play. There are certain things I can think of where this would come to light. Like if Thompson goes cold, it'll be that, you know, the playoffs came around and where'd he go? He can't go cold in the playoffs for his own sake, I would say. Goaltending is always this. And some of that is going to be coaching affected, you know, who plays.
It's a little bit of what we got going on in the last 24 hours with Metsa going down and Timmins being up. And, you know, we'll see. Lindy Ruff, we'll hear from him, you know, about an hour from now or a little more than an hour from now once pregame gets rolling. We'll talk to Paul in just about an hour from now. You know, did talk about it today that it, you know, it doesn't have to be a long-term thing. He explained it. You know, we're not practicing. We got other guys. They'll let him go play in Rochester. I hope he comes back. Or I hope they're right that Timmins is some kind of an upgrade that really gives them something that they feel they're lacking. Because I don't know. I mean, I'm worried in this way on that decision. And let's say Metsa doesn't come back and they go into this first round series and they lose. And like we all out here are looking at the numbers and going, yeah, Timmins and Stanley were a problem for you, and you chose that. You chose to do that instead of this other thing because Metsa's little. Basically, I think that's it, basically. Like, he's small, and maybe they don't trust it. If they end up there, and I don't – the jury's out on whether they're really going to end up there.
They'll get heat for that.
They will. If it goes a certain way. But, you know, if their penalty kill is 93% or something in a first-round series win, and Timmins is a part of that, then, like, okay, well, I guess you guys were right. You needed more size and shot blocking and whatever you need or thought you needed, you were right.
I think Stanley is even more interesting than Timmins for this. Because that is and this is a little bit like you're stereotyping some, but that is really an expression of what Kekalainen or the whole group thought the Sabres needed to upgrade. Where they needed to upgrade maybe more than anything else. Carrick is a version of this too, with fourth line and face-offs and, you know, so far so good. But that was, all right, what have I got? What do I need? And you could, because you always need or want depth. You can go trade draft picks for 2 or 3 guys and feel better about what happens if other guys go down. But Stanley is a specific type that they targeted because they wanted to be bigger on defense. And Metsa is a sort of, he takes the brunt of that by getting sent down. And so that's a specific bet. That is definitely one where there's going to be a referendum on this. We're going to see if it was right.
We are comfortable. We have enough. This is really maybe Metsa's problem. He's little. They've been sheltering him, and we all know that. But still, the metrics are bananas good on him all year long. But he's little. Stanley's big. It's the playoffs. We want a certain kind of guy, and we feel like we don't have enough of that. We got all these puck movers. The top 4 are all great. Even Samuelsson has become a very active and reliable puck mover with, in the zone, whatever. He's a part of that top 4. He's 4th in the pecking order, in my opinion, from a skill set standpoint, but he's not lagging way behind. So I've got enough of that. If I'm them, like I could see them looking at their team and going, okay, well, we're really good on that part. What do we need? A little more in front of our net and behind our net and on the walls and a longer stick and all. Just that's it. Those Stanley better perform those aspects of his job really well. Otherwise, his lack of the other skill sets, the offensive, the more, skating and moving the puck parts of the job, I mean, he's not going to really help you in that area. So he better have this other stuff locked down. Otherwise, you're hurting yourself.
Otherwise, it was a bad bet.
You got to really worry that, and this is really the crux of the Metsa conversation, I think, is like, are you choosing to make yourself actively worse? Like, have you by adding Stanley and even playing him with Schenn those couple of games? I think they did. I think once Stanley got with Metsa, I felt like that stabilized and was good. And they certainly weren't a problem without Metsa there with Timmins on Wednesday night. It didn't cost them the game or anything, far from it. But it's just one game. And with Metsa, you've got a season's worth of information here that tells you, he's helping you, definitely not hurting you.
It's definitely the playoffs are different.
Right.
Gamble.
Yep.
And okay. I think already, you and I are talking about it. It's our job to be. I think already fans are debating this. I'm choosing not to lose my mind over Zach Metsa being sent to Rochester. I don't think it's a great idea or that it's necessary. It's probably not what I would do, but I don't know. Like, the bet is, not to keep putting it in the same context, but the bet is we want to be bigger for the playoffs. And as such, I've got 10 to 15 games here to try to work that out and get chemistry and, sort of figure out what it looks like and how to play. And that's why this is happening the way it is. And Timmins, I think, is included in that, but maybe that changes. Maybe that ends up being Metsa or Kesselring even. Like, they've got options there depending on the matchup, how the series starts,
it's kind of crazy. Like, Metsa has been sent to Rochester. I still kind of feel like he is the next guy in if anything happens to any of the guys that are going to play tonight. Like, I think he's still ahead of Kesselring on the depth chart. Kesselring, Paul told me, I don't know if I've heard this anywhere else, but the other night, Paul, it was on pregame when we were at Roswell and you left to go to the game. And I talked to Paul for a few minutes there to get pregame rolling. And I said, like, this idea that Timmins is going in, I like it. Let's see what we've got in case we have injuries, yada, yada. The whole spiel. I said, like, multiple times on Wednesday. And I mentioned to Paul, I wouldn't be surprised to see them do this with Kesselring. And Paul said, he lost his locker. He's got a folding chair in the middle of the room now. Now, maybe that changes with Metsa going down. I don't know. But, like, that is stark. Like,
not on the logo, I hope.
Like, you're right.
Where do you put your feet?
I don't know where that – but, like, damn. Like, you were acquired in a trade to be a part of our top four, and you're like the new guy that just got called up. You're like on a chair in the middle of the room.
Yep.
That's tough. But I think that might be indicative of how they are viewing him right now. He's never really fit in, and I know the injury stuff is like Paul will always focus on that, but it might just be that he never really grasped it. See, the injury thing mitigates everything you want to say about him. Maybe he didn't really know instinctually how to play this way, the way they want to play. If they wanted him in their top four, they might have just he doesn't have it. He doesn't feel it. It's just like the system is he's not computing it. I don't know. Then you get to physically, if you're hindered, that is going to hurt your chances of being able to adapt to that. I don't know. I'm feeling like talking to different people the last few days. I don't think they're going to try him out anymore. I'm guessing. I might be overreacting to this chair in the middle of the room thing, but that does not sound like a guy who's about to get in the lineup to me. That sounds more like a guy that if they could have gotten rid of him, they would have maybe at the deadline. So I'm not thinking he fits in here anywhere. Like maybe even Schenn is ahead of him, which man, that's stark, but it might be right.
Might be.
So we'll see how that all ends up. Those puzzle pieces all get fit together, but I don't know. I'm kind of shook up about the Mets. I also don't want to overreact to it, but I'm wondering, like talking to Paul and talking to, again, a couple of other people who are kind of close to the team, I think I might have misjudged. Maybe I made the mistake of taking Lindy too much at his word about how he's earned a spot in the lineup.
Then he's gone.
And he's 2 days later, he's But again, we're going to try these other guys, and why don't you go play in Rochester for a few days, and then we'll revisit this. We'll all get back together. And who knows, something could happen in any one of these games while he's down there that will require him coming right back up. So I'm just hoping he has not been banished. And I guess I'm not. Yesterday, I was pretty sure he wasn't, and now I'm not. I'm not. I can't say my opinion has changed about it. I feel like I know more now, and I'm a little worried that they're scared of him because he's little.
You usually have pretty good instincts.
I appreciate
like
that.
with dogs, right? Fred is a French bulldog, right?
Part French bulldog. Yeah.
Only part?
Part. He's French bulldog, mini bulldog, and Boston Terrier. Okay. Like it's half one of those, and then quarter the other side. I can't remember which.
Well, that's the number one breed right now.
French bulldogs. Yeah.
According to the American Kennel Club rankings, not sure how these are ranked. Popularity, I don't know.
Yeah.
Adoptions. French Bulldog was number one.
We did go looking for, this was Leo's thing. This is Fred's going to be 10. So 10 years ago, he sort of championed the cause of getting another dog, and he and my wife looked for French Bulldogs. And I don't know if it was a price point thing or what, but they found a breeder that had this dog, Fred. It was in like Barrie, Ontario or somewhere. And we knew he was a mix, but
French-Canadian Bulldog.
We got right. Fred is Canadian.
Margot is Canadian.
So we did get to him through looking for a French Bulldog. So we were a part of whatever the wave of excitement about French Bulldogs, maybe on the front end of it, because if they're the most popular breed now, we were 10 years early.
Yeah, I think maybe it's been 3 years they've been number one.
All right.
I mean, it was a tough blow at my house.
Oh, sure. Well,
38th.
Fred sends his condolences to Margot.
How does anybody
they've not met
with a pug comprehend 38th place? Yeah. Yes, Margot in her example is very needy. She will sit and stare at you when you're eating. I don't eat anymore in the house. I literally take food to the basement to avoid the scrutiny, the evil eye. The shame I feel, not just giving her the entire plate of food. But, she's wonderful. I mean, 38th. I just can't even speak almost.
I don't think I can even name 37 other dog breeds.
I'm sure I can't. This is a real blow.
Pugs behind made-up dog breeds? I don't even know what's happening.
Well, you kind of did name 3 yourself.
Well, sure, yeah.
But, right. I mean, I could probably name 20. But I won't do that. 38th. What does a pug have to do? They're very loving. I get home from work every day, jumps right to the door, jumps up. I leave for work. She knows my bag. Maybe it's the time of day. There's a cycle. I pick the bag up at like 1:15, and she sprints to the door to try to keep me from opening it. She knows her toys by name.
Well, that is impressive.
She does all kinds of tricks.
Fred does not know.
Jumping tricks and spinning and high paws.
Fred is not smart. I hope he's not listening. He's not.
If he were, he wouldn't even get it.
Yeah, right.
He's not that smart.
He's not.
He could be listening to us talking about him and not even realize it.
Yeah. Like you can do that thing where you get the toy from him and you like do the fake throw. And, he's gone for an hour.
Number one breed.
He's just
listen to this. It's getting worse for me.
He walks back in the room. I'm exaggerating a little. You walk back in the room and be like, yeah, I still have it. Where you been? What have you been doing? Now, maybe he forgets. You went running at first and then there were some crumbs in the kitchen and then that's all bets are off.
My dog likes milk.
Yo.
Yeah.
Huh.
Any other, it's my wife who drinks milk. So she'll like lay on the couch and put the glass on the floor. Wine, water, water, I don't know. But any other drink, like a fizzy water, anything else, no interest. Milk though. She's like a cat. She starts licking into the glass if you let her. Maybe that's why we're 38th. Maybe that's a strike against.
Maybe.
Do pugs like milk? I don't know. Mine does. Sal Capaccio after sports. Sabres and Red Wings pregame at 6 here on WGR.
Game night tonight for the Buffalo Sabres. Pre-game coming up in just about a half hour at 6. They are hosting the Red Wings. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop tonight. Noah Ostlund is considered day-to-day, but does have a possibility to play tonight, according to head coach Lindy Ruff. And then in net, all signs are pointing to Alex Lyon getting the start. And the Sabres injury report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. There's just one other game tonight. It is the Rangers hosting Chicago. That will also go off at 7 o'clock. And the Buffalo Bills, they are bringing back safety DeMar Hamlin on a one-year deal. We have more on that signing up at our website, WGR550.com. And do stay tuned. We'll get the latest as Sal Capaccio joins the show next. More baseball this afternoon. Yankees at the Giants. That game is scoreless in the 4th. And the Blue Jays, they get their season started later tonight when they host the Athletics just after 7 o'clock. And this coming down in just the last half hour or so. Tiger Woods was involved in a car crash earlier this afternoon in Florida. He was arrested at the scene on suspicion of DUI. Officials have said Woods did not test positive for alcohol, but he refused to submit to a urine test that would determine whether other substances were in his system. He is now going to be held at minimum of 8 hours before he can be released on bail. And in college hoops, 4 games tonight. St. John's and Duke at 7:10 will get the night underway. Then Michigan, Alabama at 7:30. And then following the completion of those 2 games, it'll be Michigan State, UConn, and then Iowa State, Tennessee. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for West New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Welcome back. I reached out to Sal this morning to tell him about a show I watched last night that I would recommend, not just if you're a Yankee fan, maybe better if you're not. Peacock, I said to Sal Netflix, but I have corrected that since. Peacock has Bronx Zoo 90, and the story of how the Yankees under George Steinbrenner in 1990 just completely fell apart. We've talked about before how the Yankees won more games in the decade of the 80s than any other team. They weren't known for like winning. They didn't win a World Series, but they were the winningest team of the 80s. 1990, different story. And it's maybe 4 or 5 hours in total, Sal, and you're going to love it. I mean, unless you have sort of pains from having lived through that team as a fan. It's funny. And, it wasn't funny at the time, I'm sure, for those guys and for Yankee fans. But high recommend on Peacock. Bronx Zoo 90.
I'll have to check it out. No, I mean, the late 80s, early 90s Yankees, like, they were kind of like, man, why can't this team be better? Kind of a couple, like, kind of okay seasons. They weren't that great. And then 95 obviously was, Mariners and Edgar Martinez. And that's when you knew that there was something brewing there, right? For sure. Did you hear the story that Barry Bonds told on Netflix about the Yankees when he was a free agent?
Nope.
The other day?
I don't know that one.
I didn't hear about this. You refresh me here. I don't think I quite have it.
I never knew this. So Barry Bonds said on the broadcast, they had him on, and he said when he became a free agent from the Pirates, he said George Steinbrenner called him and said, I'm going to make you the highest paid player in baseball, sign with the Yankees, but you have to tell me by 2 p.m. today, basically, whatever, he gave him like a couple hours. And he's like, oh, well, that's great, but I don't know if I want to do, give me a minute. He hung up the phone and thought about it. And he said he got upset that they were giving him a timeline. He's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to San Francisco, or otherwise he would have been a Yankee.
The story I read about this said that phone call lines up with a time where Steinbrenner was suspended and should not have been allowed to be conducting Yankees business, but did it anyway. And Bonds, by telling that story, sort of, whatever, he's deceased.
Yeah.
But the shocker, Steinbrenner didn't really respect the rules of the suspension. I'm going to want to check this out, too. We're going to talk to an author, longtime New York Post columnist, Mike Piccaro, the week after Easter coming up. He's got a book out called The Bosses of the Bronx. That sale after I'm done with it, and maybe I'm going to get it to Mike before we have Mike Vaccaro on. You might want to check that out. I'm like a couple chapters in and really enjoying it so far. It's all about the Steinbrenner ownership, how he came to own the team, and then like on through. So there's a lot of juicy stuff.
Well, it's so good, and I didn't know so much of this when he signed Winfield. Like Winfield gave him a hard time, and sort of the way the contract was worded had $10 million more coming than Steinbrenner intended. It's like before the first press conference when they introduced Winfield, Steinbrenner was furious with him, and never stopped trying to aggravate him and dig up dirt on him, and that's eventually how he gets suspended through a gambler. And the gambler, Howie Spira, is on the show, and he tells his side of that story and how he got involved with Steinbrenner and all of this. It's great. So won't say too much, but that suspension means Gene Michael replaces Steinbrenner as general manager of the team and sort of the overseer of the team, and Michael drafts all those guys that became a dynasty.
Winfield was my favorite Yankee when I was younger. I loved him, and you remember he hits the pigeon in Toronto, right? He throws the ball and hits a pigeon. And the famous line from George Steinbrenner was, he couldn't even hit the cutoff man. How was he supposed to hit the pigeon?
Steinbrenner just hated him publicly.
Yeah.
It definitely comes across here. Okay. The Bills make a little bit of news today, bringing back Damar Hamlin. I was glad to hear about it. I think I always want to have Hamlin play for the Bills. But, I'm sure this wasn't mostly for sentimental reasons. What do you think of this all and sort of the fit now under a new defensive coordinator?
He's a polarizing player, and Mike, I think there are Bills fans who do think they do it for sentimental reasons. I agree with you. That's not why. You do it because you think he's going to help your roster. But he's been polarizing. Part of it is because he was put in a situation a couple of years ago where, quite frankly, he shouldn't have been in because he wasn't, a high-level safety, but he had to play because that's kind of all they had. And it was just a stark difference and unfair to him, really, to be compared to Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer a year after they didn't have those two guys, because he's not those guys. And I'm quite frankly surprised, too. Like, I did not think Damar Hamlin would come back. And a big reason for me is my natural reflex on a lot of these things over 9 years has been, oh, yeah, well, he knows the system. Well, it's a new system now.
Right.
And there's like 13 free agents that they not re-sign. When you guys laid them out, we talked about it last week, all the defensive guys who are still free agents who haven't re-signed, if you're going to say, like, order them on their likelihood to come back, I wouldn't get to Damar very quickly for that very reason. Like, Damar represents to me a high floor guy, but low ceiling guy that you can do much better than. But I've always said also, like, every team has players like Damar Hamlin. If you're expecting, he's not a Pro Bowler, he's not an All-Pro, but the fact that they have this new defensive coordinator, the fact that they had such an overhaul on defense, I just didn't expect it. But I'm also here to tell you, like, he's fine. He doesn't even know. He might not even make the team. We don't know.
Yeah, this is where I'm waiting for you to say the thing about the 90 players.
Yeah, 90 players.
Right.
He might not make the team. And by the way, what's his number going to be? Probably minimum salary. He might not even count on the top 51 salary cap books at this point, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like the biggest criticism I could make here is, well, we know the ceiling's low, so if he's a depth guy, get a different depth guy, a younger, newer depth guy that you might uncover, like, oh, wow, look, this guy can really help us. He can really, be more than just a backup or a special teamer or whatever, but they can still do that. That's the 90-player point, right? So, like, I'm not, ready to, go to the mattresses over it, hardly. I mean, okay, like you said, we'll see if he makes it. Like, I think he's outranked by the two guys they signed a couple weeks ago already that started games in the league last year, Geno Stone and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And maybe Hamlin right now is their fourth safety, and we'll see what else, they end up doing.
And actually, I thought Geno Stone was a Damar Hamlin replacement, basically.
Yeah.
Like, to me, he just screams like a player like Damar, which is he's not going to make these wow plays and game-changing plays. He's not a guy you want on the field all the time, but he's insurance that if you need somebody to get through a game, you got to start him here and there. That's fine. He can play a lot of special teams for you. No problem. I thought, okay, when they signed Geno Smith, that was even more of a, oh, yeah, like Damar's probably done, like not sure where he winds up. So I'm surprised by this. But look, I mean, if DeMar Hamlin and his agent went to the Bills and said, we don't want to play anywhere else, we're going to come back at a minimum deal, and, we'd love to be here. The Bills look at the roster and go, okay, what can it hurt? It doesn't mean he has to be here, on September 9th, 10th, 11th, whenever the season starts. So, yeah, I think it's but he's super polarizing. I mean, the reaction online from fans, just like last year, super predictable, which is, oh, my God, why are they doing this? He stinks, or, oh, yeah, great story. They just like to feel good PR. That's not why they're doing it. They're doing it because they need players like this. Whether his name is DeMar Hamlin or Geno Smith or Joe whatever, these are players that every team has on their roster.
Right. Geno Stone. I don't know how much
Geno Stone.
I don't know how much PR juice is left anyway with Hamlin. For anybody to sort of be outraged over it, I think doesn't have an understanding of really what the cost benefit is. I mean, there's a little bit. My hand is up because I think about this. What happened with him when the news breaks. What is safety anymore for them as a draft priority? And we might have talked about this a little bit on Wednesday or recently, I know. But with every signing at a position, I kind of want to just double back to, not that DeMar Hamlin means they wouldn't draft a safety in the first round or anything like that. But is that possible? There are mock drafts that would put a safety on the Bills.
Yep. You haven't mentioned Jordan Hancock before you start answering, Salem. That's another young. There's maybe the young guy that I'm even thinking of that could come on and help you. We'll see. He was more of a developmental guy, 5th round pick from last year. All right, sorry. What do you think safety as far as the draft goes? Now they've got five guys here.
I wonder if they view Jordan Hancock more as a nickel going into this year because, you have D. Alford, you sign, you let Taron Johnson go. Now you've signed another safety. So I wonder if maybe that's where he falls, and that's why you bring back a guy like DeMar. And, yes, Geno Stone. And, by the way, every time I do it, I say Geno Smith, right? It's just such a reflex to say Geno Smith when I say Geno Stone. But maybe that's the case. I do think safety is still something they could do early in the draft, even first round. It's a good safety class. I just think I'm fascinated by C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He's going to start. He's got to be the starter right now. You're paying him starters money. He's a really good player, but he's such a wild card. You don't know what you're going to get with him. And the chances are that he's going to be on this team for 1 year because he'll come in and you're going to have him play and then you're going to move off him because that's just what happens. That's the book on him. Every team does this. So you need a longer-term solution. You have Cole Bishop for 2 more years on his rookie contract, and then you just have a bunch of 1-year guys other than Jordan Hancock, to Bulldog's point, which is right, unless you feel that he can develop into something and maybe that winds up and you don't have to revisit it. But it would be nice to have a pair of younger safeties, that you can really rely on because I just don't know what C.J. Gardner-Johnson is going to bring. And he could wind up being, honestly, all-pro, or he could wind up being not on the team in week 6. I have no
Halloween,
idea.
yeah, right.
Yep, that's right.
Good luck with Iowa tomorrow.
All right, you're still going in Joe's thing, huh?
I mean, it sounds like if you get Iowa, then you could chop it with a lot of people, right? I mean, it's so chalky again, but you have to get Iowa.
So Bulldog,
7.
I have everybody open tonight. I could take any team, which is crazy.
That's a great job by you. Yeah.
Well,
so I think I'm going to take Michigan tonight because it feels like it's just the right, they're going to win, and I don't really trust any of the other teams. I could take Duke, but man, I could see St. John's beating Duke. I think I could see Alabama beating Michigan, but I think Michigan's the play because Alabama's a little bit depleted. Michigan's really, really strong. The problem is tomorrow, literally, I have to take Iowa. There's the only team I have left that's playing tomorrow.
Well, you've played it all the way out to the end, I hope. If you take Michigan, they can't win the tournament, and they might be the favorite to win the tournament. That's okay, and that's better if you win because more people will be on them.
What would happen? Do you know what happens in this, when certain amount of people left? You don't have to have a winner, right? I mean, one person can't be standing all the time, obviously.
Well, if it's the semis and there's one player left, then that's it. If it goes all the way to the final and there are teams, multiple guys like yourself who have the winner, then they'll chop the whole amount.
Chop it up, yeah, for sure.
But
it is really interesting and fun, but it gets very harrowing as well.
The last 2 years have felt like years. I don't know this for sure because I'm not playing in Joe Ostrowski's Survivor this year, but it's so chalky again that it probably does go all the way. I mean, I think the winner probably does go all the way. So figure out how best to do that, I guess. Not to try to change your mind on tonight, but.
Listen, I mean, I thought about Iowa State tonight because I don't think I'll take them after this, but
That's
I
what
just
you should
don't
do.
feel like that's I mean, I don't know. Tennessee could win. I guess my philosophy, I guess, at the end of the day is survive in advance, right? And to me, the best chance to survive in advance tonight is Michigan.
Tonight, that's probably right. Okay, Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's Sal Capaccio on the West Her Hotline. His appearances are brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
I would definitely not use Michigan tonight.
Yeah. I can't say what I definitely or definitely would not do because I got.
It's Sal's pool. I didn't want to say it to him.
I stopped following after I got bounced, but it was. I said great job just because I mean to get what's it been like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday is what he's won so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty. I got through 2 days and I was like, woo! I get to pick on Saturday.
But it does sound like he's playing it pretty safe.
Yeah,
like he's used everybody on one side except for Iowa.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to win,
right?
But I mean, I would be out too because I'd be trying to get cute,
right,
in the first week. You didn't lose that way, but I would have. I would have picked a 9 or a 10 or somebody like that.
Yeah,
the first round, and cross your fingers. But we'll see if he gets stuck.
Yeah. I was trying to avoid teams that I thought were going to win it myself. Like
yes.
and it was,
I would still be doing
it was
that.
The first 2 days of the tournament. It was easy to do. And, but I struck out on Gonzaga, and that was the end of that.
I think I would still be doing that tonight.
Yeah.
You want to pick a team tonight?
He mentioned Iowa State. Maybe that's.
Pick the favorite, or even Alabama's pretty. I wouldn't do that. Pick the favorite tonight that you think has the least chance to win the championship.
Right.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Paul Hamilton at 6, Sabres pregame. This is WGR. I'm in a pickle now.
You shut your mouth off.
I know. That's what does it. That's what usually does it.
You got to put yourself. Now you're on the spot.
Sal wants to know who I would take.
Mm-hmm.
I would take Iowa State. I need Sal to know. I'm going to text him this, and I'm going to say it now in case he's listening. I don't know anything about these teams. It's a numbers game for me. But I would not take Michigan because they're the biggest favorite. And they'll be favored against anybody in the regional final at least, maybe in every game. I wouldn't have the guts to take an underdog tonight. You could. The other couple of spreads are pretty close. You could take Tennessee. You could take UConn. You could take Michigan State. But I wouldn't take Duke or Michigan because they'll be favored in the next one. And I got to get to the end.
Yep. And it's not the end yet.
I think, I don't know how many are left. I think I heard Sal say something like 300, some number like that. That's too many. It's winner take all. I'm not looking to get close. I got to win it.
Right.
So, man, now if he changes it, that sucks for me.
Yeah,
I kind of don't want him to.
That is tough, right?
What should he do?
He should do what he thinks is right.
I know, but what is that?
You're going to call Mike for help. Make a call.
A caller, I think, tried to get that across to him this morning.
A little throwback for you.
A guy called up and I think was trying to get that across. I don't know. I feel like I'm really stuck. If Iowa State loses, even if Michigan, if he doesn't get to the end, but he loses tonight because of a change now, I mean, he's just going to hate me.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Well, it's up to him.
You're really in it.
Sabres, I'm just being honest, Sabres pregame next on WGR.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
We so excited. We gonna have a ball today. Tomorrow is Saturday.
I'm itching inside. My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I took Deborah, went to the liquor store. I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila. More beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
Thursday. Today, yeah, it's Friday.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
We so excited. We gonna have a ball today. Tomorrow is Saturday.
I'm itching inside. My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I took Deborah, went to the liquor store. I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.